Why is it that we expect women to be more kind and cooperative in the workplace? And how does this affect women's careers?
Yeah, well, I mean, the reason why we expect it is because it's a vicious stereotype. And part of that stereotype comes from the fact that women have less power in society. Now, some people say, oh, women are mothers or they're nurturers. But some of the research that we've done shows that every low power group in society is expected to be nurturing and cooperative and deferential, right? And so it creates a double bind for women. And so one of the things that our research has shown is a couple things that I think are really important. First is that when women get primed with power, it affects them just like when men get primed with power. So we prime women with power before an interview, they also act more confident, just as a man who gets primed with power acts more confident. So one of the things that we've done is we've shown, I think, a pretty interesting finding, which is that many gender differences, sex differences, are really just power differences in disguise. And the way that we know that is we've taken 31 separate known sex differences that exist in the world and replicated them with power manipulations. So if men score higher on X than women, then people primed with high power score higher on X than people primed with low power. But there's a problem. Women have more constraints in how they can act with power. They face a double bind. So how do we solve that double bind? Well, we solve it in 3 ways. One of the first ways is we try to take out gender from the equation. How do we do that? Well, symphony orchestras have done that with blind auditions. They found that when we went to blind auditions, women went from less than 10% of major symphony orchestras in America to almost 50%.
You're kidding.
Because we basically listened to the music differently if we thought it was coming from a woman. The second thing we do is we actually use what's called accountability and transparency. Some of the work done by the United States government and other people have shown that if we just simply track outcomes for men and women in organizations and report those findings, we create motivation to end some of, let's say, the gender wage gap, for example. And then the third thing is there's a little bit of burden that's placed on women. So some of the great research that's done by Emily Amanatula down at Texas and Hannah Riley Bowles at Harvard, they've asked, can women solve the dilemma of they want to be ambitious in negotiations, but they want to lean in, but they don't want to get pushed back.
Right.
And one of the things they found is something called us advocacy. So think about who's allowed to advocate, what women are allowed to advocate really fiercely. Mothers on behalf of their kids, right? So it's like, think about becoming a mama bear, right? I'm doing this not just for me, but for all my children. And that allows, if you put women in that mindset that they're doing this, let's say I'm going in to ask for a raise at work. I'm not doing this just for me, I'm doing this for the other people in my life. Then they actually negotiate just as effectively as men do.